Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. The time is approximately, I can't tell, 9:12 p.m. and the current date is Saturday, May 26th, 2018 in the United States. It is the weekend before Memorial Day. And I want to shout out to Gothica. Hello, Gothica. And I know a lot of us love tea. It's very warm in my area today, and yet I'm drinking hot tea. So I wanted to let you know what the combination is. So I have been thoroughly enjoying reconnecting with Bigelow's Constant Comment. In fact, I just used the last bag of this today, or rather with this cup of tea. And the other tea is a new one. This is, new to me anyway, Twinings French Vanilla Chai. It is so good. I actually added a little bit of white sugar for a change and a splash of milk, and it tastes so good. And of course, drinking it in my Spirit of the Bear mug. Oh, that's so good, man. Let me tell you. So, recently and not so recently, I have talked about how much I love Alana Fairchild. And I have a few of her oracle card decks, and I have one of her meditation CDs. I love who she is. I love what she does. I love what she represents. And I thoroughly enjoy her works. And recently I showed, or rather shared in one of my YouTube videos, that I have now 2 additional of her decks. I have the Lightworker's Oracle, and I also have the Crystal Mandala Oracle, which I absolutely love and adore. And after that particular video, Honeybee Priestess was like, you know, I would love to let you borrow my copy of Alana Fairchild's Crystal Goddesses 888, Manifesting with the Power of Heaven and Earth. And I was like, sure, I'd love that. And then I find out that she's not letting me borrow it. She gave it to me. So, but I must admit, even as I began reading the synopses of the other books in that series, I knew that I wanted to acquire all 3 books in her Crystal Spirituality series. So 1 down and 2 to go. But I want to show you a few things, because you know what? It's not every day that somebody who subscribes to my YouTube channel mails me a gift. And I treasure them. I absolutely treasure them. And for me, it just makes my day. When somebody takes the time to put everything together in such a way that it's beautiful and visually appealing and thoroughly blessed with so much love and so much light and so much joy and so much good juju, that it's just like, you know, the whole thing is just like wonderful. So I want to show you first of all the envelope in which this arrived. It's a little beat up, but you get the gist of the envelope. I was like, look at how pretty the envelope is, and it's a padded envelope. So I was really happy with the envelope, very much so. And it was so funny because it was a partly cloudy day, but when I finally picked this up in my post office, it was sunny for the rest of the day. No lie. She wrapped, Honeybee Priestess wrapped the book in this red tissue paper, and she used purple yarn thread, which I still have. And it's so funny because I immediately thought of the Holy Book of Women's Mysteries by Z. Budapest. And I remember when I received that copy, when that copy manifested in my life, when that book manifested in my life, I remember reading the original introduction, which is in the book. And Z. Budapest had written that when the Holy Book of Women's Mysteries was first published, it was published as a 2-volume set. Volume 1 had a red cover, and volume 2 had a purple cover, because those are the two colors most synonymous with goddess energy. And so ever since then, every time I see a combination of red and purple, I always think about like goddess times 2 energy. And then around and through is this gorgeous trivet. Now I gotta tell you, I saw this and I was just like, it's so pretty and it's so beautiful and it's so beautifully made. I know that I truly believe that I have the potential to learn a lot of different skills, but there are some skills that I know I'm not going to learn simply because I don't think I have the patience to develop those skills. This is a skill set that is a fabulous skill set, and everything that she did and the time that she took and the care that she took to wrap everything, to include this, all these other things. And then, of course, I want to show you the thing that I really loved the most, which was the card. Now, I'll admit it, I loved the card even more than the book. I was just like, and I'm not going to read to you what she wrote, but I have to absolutely show you what she did with the card. I mean, look at this. Look at what she did. She took all of these different kinds of ribbons and fabrics, and she put them all together like this. I mean, this just blows my mind. And the funny thing is, one would think that as Mr. Prosperity, I would love the Wheel of Fortune card. I love the Wheel of Fortune card more so from the perspective of somebody who reveres the goddess, because when I look at the Wheel of Fortune card, I think of Isis Fortuna, an aspect of Isis the goddess, who is the goddess of the sacred tarot. So when I was just floored and blown away when I saw this. I was moved. I was just like, wow, things like this really move me. I mean, here I am, this guy who just happens to have a YouTube channel, who happens to be a professional psychic, who happens to have a side position of employment which has nothing to do with the metaphysical, magical, and mystical, who lives not too far from New York City, who is a gay man and a Cuban and a moon magic witch and a happily recovered Catholic, who lives for coffee and is crazy for cozy mysteries and loves cats and loves hairy men. And somebody took the time to do all this for me and give me all this. Me. It to say that it honors me is a gross understatement. It really, really is a gross understatement. And it moves me. It does honor me. It floors me. And it's a huge and beautiful compliment. Anyway, so there you have it. Now I want to talk a little bit about the book. So, and it's I've only recently found out that there are several of us in this beautiful, metaphysical, magical, and mystical YouTube community that happen to love and adore Alana Fairchild. I know that the Jennifer Ball's Spiritual Garage loves and adores Alana Fairchild. And I know that one of my favorite people on the planet, Swan of Dreamers, loves and adores Alana Fairchild. But I do want to hold up my end of the bargain, and I do want to talk about this book. It is, as I mentioned, one of the 3 books in the Crystal Spirituality series. And I love how the book is structured. There's an introduction, and under introduction it says, why am I attracted to this book? And there's a part of me that feels like, well, I already know, but let's say for the sake of argument somebody doesn't know. I find that difficult to believe, but I think that Alana Fairchild went with her divine guidance. And then the next section reads, how do I know if I am on the divine feminine path? And then working with goddesses. And then manifesting, what is it? That's actually a section that I'm looking forward to reading. How the goddesses operate in the world. That one too. Why and how can I work with them, meaning the goddesses? Why these particular goddesses? Now this, I'm actually going to read a portion of. There are so many goddesses from a variety of traditions. In this book, I chose to share the ones who have chosen to work with me over the years. As I have been empowered and initiated into their paths, I felt I could be constructive in sharing their wisdom and grace with you. I love that part. What is 888? How to work with the crystals. What is a crystal angel? How do I work with the mandalas? How do I read the healing processes and do, how do I read the healing processes and do them? And then of course she goes right into the different goddesses. Now, I'm actually going to, let's see. Who is a goddess who has not been on my mind lately? Sekhmet. So I'm going to go to page 77 and read a little bit about the section on Sekhmet. Now, for those of you who do not know, Sekhmet is the ancient Egyptian lioness-headed goddess. She is the daughter of Ra, so she is absolutely a solar goddess. She is also the ancient Egyptian goddess of healing, prophecy, carnal lust, magic, and the scorching heat of the sun. Several years ago, I remember going to a metaphysics store, which was in New York City, and I saw a pendant that depicted Sekhmet in a cartouche style, in a cartouche frame, if you will. And I remember in her crown, on the pendant, was a citrine quartz, which is absolutely a penultimate Leo crystal. And I remember waiting, because I thought to myself, it would be so easy for me to assume that this pendant is here for me, especially considering that I saw it when the sun was in Capricorn, my sun sign, and my rising sign is Leo. So it would be very easy for me to assume it was here because it was a birthday gift from the goddess. But I decided to wait 8 months. I figured, you know what, 8 months, I'll know for sure. So 8 months later, when the sun was in August, when it was in August, when the sun was in Leo, the pendant was still there. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to buy the pendant. It remains the pendant that I always wear when the sun is in Leo. And I'll probably do that for probably the rest of my life. So, in parentheses, after Sekhmet is the phrase sacred rage. And then the crystal that corresponds to Sekhmet is fire agate, representing inner fire. And then manifesting through passion. And then she writes a little bit, and then she has a channeled message about fire agate and about Sekhmet, and then some information about Sekhmet, and she talks a little bit about sacred rage. And boy, is it a long section. And then she writes about fire agate, or its presence. And then manifesting through passion, the healing process, and then that's it. And with all of the goddesses, there's either a mantra or a phrase. So the phrase for Sekhmet is Sekhmet Ra, which makes perfect sense considering that Sekhmet is the daughter of Ra, the divine daughter of Ra. This is a very, very, very thorough exploration and opportunity to work with this specific goddess and with all of the goddesses in this book. And I must admit, I'm looking forward to working more with these goddesses, and not just the goddesses that are a part of my life, but the goddesses that I may need to work with from time to time. And of course, there are some goddesses that I've never heard of, like Matangi. Never heard of Matangi before. So I'm looking forward to learning more about different goddesses through this book. And Honeybee Priestess, thank you once again for giving me this book. Not just letting me borrow it, but actually giving it to me. I am very honored that you did that. And, my awesome audiovisual person knows all too well that when someone gives me a gift, it's priceless for me. And I get very protective of it. I get a little fanatical in making sure that I take extra special care of it. So, and interestingly enough, one of the other goddesses in this book is Durga. And recently, Durga, as in Durga the kitten, peed on the book. Now, I don't know if she was trying to tell me, yes, I approve of this book, and did it that way. It was very small. It was like a little drop of pee. I stopped her in time. Thank Goddess for small favors, but anyway, I can't even tell where the pee was, so I know it was on the cover or the back. So it's cleaned up and does not smell bad, which is a good thing. Anyway, so in the meantime, I will definitely be letting you know once I acquire the other books in Alana Fairchild's Crystal Spirituality series, and I'll be talking about them as well in future videos. For those of you who have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I invite you to do so, and make sure you click or tap on the bell icon. That way you will make sure to receive notifications of when I upload a new video, and you may wish to periodically check to make sure that your bell icon remains checked so that you do receive those notifications. And of course, for those of you who have not yet scheduled your reading with me, whether it is reading with me in person at Notions and Potions on Saturday, June 9th, 2018 from 12 to 6:30 p.m., or a reading at Catland in the store, or by phone via Catland, or by Skype via Catland, I absolutely recommend you do so as soon as possible. Not surprisingly, I have less availability for June of 2018, but I have a lot of availability for July of 2018, and I know that I have a lot less availability for August of 2018, which I'll be talking about in a future video. And I think that's it for now. YouTube, as always, thank you so much for honoring who I am and what I do. I wish all of you many blessings of love and light, peace and prosperity. And good night.